Shabbat Shalom. Welcome again to our virtual Shabbat experience. I'm joined by Prestia, who is our accompanist and musical director here at Temple Ohev Shalom. Beginning with a message. These are certainly uncertain times, and I say that not tongue-in-cheek, but because in some states the virus is really heating up yet again. So I hope all of you are being safe. I hope we're wearing masks when we are in public, please, and let's do our best to keep ourselves healthy. Of course, if you need me, you can always find me on my cell phone at 717-460-6444 or send me an email at rabbi@ohevsholom.org. Let's welcome Shabbat by lighting our Shabbat candles and turn to page 121. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech olam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Let's continue on page 125. Where has this week vanished? Is it lost forever? Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized hope, the task accomplished. Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while what must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat, abide. Help me to withdraw for a while from the flight of time, contain the retreat of the hours and days from the grasp of frantic life. Let me learn to pause, if only for this day. Let me find peace on this day. Let me enter into a quiet world on this day. On this day, Shabbat, abide. Let's continue on page 138 with L'chadodi. page 146 with Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chochma poteach she'arim, uvitfuna mishane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et ha'kochavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtsono. Borei yom v'layla, kolel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, umabdil ben yom uvein layla, Adonai tzevaot shemo. El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. Page 151. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol, all these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. We continue with the Shema on page 152.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuta Le'olam va'ed.
Hafta, page 154.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadevarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha ve'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shiftecha b'beitecha uv'lechtecha v'aderech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha u'kshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha u'ktabtam al mezuzot beitecha uv'isharecha Leman tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim le'Elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
Page 157. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Michamocha, page 158.
Bam 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 baby bami ba 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 bim bami bam 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 baby bami ba 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 bim ba ay 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 ba 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 bim ba ay 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 ba 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 bim
161. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, hapurei sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. V'shamru, page 162. Page 171. Days pass and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see wherever we gaze that the bush burns unconsumed, and we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Blessed is the Eternal One, the Holy God. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the Holy God. We continue on page 175. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when Anxiety makes us tremble. When pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. Shalom Rav, page 178. Shalom Rav, al Yisrael amcha, tasim leolam. Shalom Rav, al Yisrael amcha, tasim leolam. Ki atah hu melech now in these difficult times where it is so hard to be alone and to worry, I'd like to offer some words from the Torah portion. This week's Torah portion is called Chukat, and right in the middle of the parsha, as if by magic, 38 years pass and the major characters, the siblings Moses, Aaron, and Miriam, become elders of the community and either die or are told of their imminent passing. In the story, we've already reached Israel after just 2.5 years of travel. The spies have already been dispatched into the land, and the consensus is that the escaped slaves don't want the land that God is giving them. They want to go back home to Egypt. I enjoy reminding us that it is a myth that the Jews wandered for 40 years in the desert. We left Egypt and received the Torah just 49 days into our journey. Statutes and ordinances abound for the next 2 years, and then the story abruptly stops right here. The Israelites arrive in the wilderness of Zin, and we realize that 38 years have passed, and not a word is recorded about those ensuing years. And so the focus begins to shift to their children, but not before we learn the fate of their 3 leaders, of whom the prophet Micah said that God had sent to Israel to help him accomplish the redemption from Egypt. One of these, Moses, is the most important. The remainder of Numbers and all of Deuteronomy treat him as the towering father of his people. Yet he too is marked by age and belongs to the past. Moses, like the others of his generation, is to die without entering the promised land. What we've just learned from this commentary is the sad fact that befalls all of us if we are lucky enough to reach a ripe old age. We're simply not able to do what we used to accomplish. Moses and Aaron are no different from the rest of us, and the community of Israel hasn't changed either. Again, the Israelites complain to Moses, but this time, 38 years later, Moses and Aaron don't have the strength to rise above the riffraff. They're tired. They just want to rest. Instead of standing tall atop a hill and chastising the Israelites for their lack of confidence in God, they retreat to the tent of meeting, fall on their faces, and feel defeated. Who can blame them? After a while, all of us lose our fight, not because we don't have the will, but because we no longer have the strength. God appears to Moses and Aaron at the tent and tells them that he will provide the water that is lacking in the wilderness, and that God will quench the thirst of the parched and defeated Israelites and give Moses a chance to evaluate his situation without listening to the endless complaints from the Israelites. So God said, "Take your rod, assemble the community, and before your very eyes, this rock that you see in front of you will yield water." But Moses has lost his desire to stand before his people, staff in hand, and present a miracle from God. He's finally reached his limit with the complaining, the disrespect, and the mutinous behavior of his people. So he said to them, "Listen, you rebels, shall we get water for you out of this rock?" And then he beats the rock twice with his rod, yielding copious amounts of water. And then God is furious because Moses has disobeyed him. And he tells Moses that he will not enter the promised land because he didn't affirm God's sanctity in front of the community. He will be punished because he disobeyed the Lord publicly in front of the masses. Sages for generations study this passage and ask, how can God forsake Moses, his right-hand man, the greatest prophet of our people, the only human that God speaks to, panim el panim, face to face? How can God punish Moses 38 years into his journey by withholding from him the most vital goal he has had his entire life, leading the Israelites to the promised land? There are many responses to the incident with the rock. Some say Moses should have known that violence, hitting, is no way to behave when one is an elder in the community. At his advanced age, he should know better. He should teach better. But perhaps the answer is really much more simple. Moses isn't being punished at all. He's just being relieved of his duties while he still has a semblance of pride, honor, and dignity. Moses does achieve his goal of leading his people into the promised land, but God tells him that it is time to retire and that his days are numbered. But he doesn't take his life there in the wilderness of Zin, for there's much more left to our story. The entire book of Deuteronomy, called in Hebrew Devarim, words, lies in front of us. Moses will have his chance to address his people and view the land from his dreams. He just won't be able to set foot on its soil. But is that really a punishment from God, or simply the sad realization of old age? Eventually, no matter how hard we try, we all will die. Some of us slowly, others quickly, some of us never knowing what hit us, and others painfully fading away or going piece by piece. The tragedy of this Torah portion is not that Moses hit a rock or even that he is perceived to be punished by God. The sad part of Chukad is that our leader, the greatest prophet of all, has come to the point in his life where he can no longer take care of his family, or in some ways even himself. This day for him is like the day when our children talk to us about assisted living, or the day we finally sell a house because we just can't get up the stairs as we used to. This day for Moses is like the day we realize that we rely on our children more than they rely on us, or like the day we understand that it's better not to drive at night or even to drive at all. It may be sad, it may be tragic for Moses and for us as well, when we reach that time in our lives, but it is much more tragic never to reach that time at all, to leave this life before our time, to never reach the moment when we can settle down to rest and let others be the responsible ones. No, Moses was not punished for hitting the rock. He only had come to the realization that his time had come, that God was allowing him the opportunity to wind down before the end came. That in itself is a blessing. Sometimes we focus on the question, why is God doing this to me? When in reality we should be thinking, is this something God is doing for me? Sometimes what we perceive as punishment is just the opportunity to take things a little slower, make life a little easier, and sit back and allow others to be in charge, to take care of us instead of the other way around. It's never easy to let go at any age. Sometimes God tells us it's better to let go than to suffer with the knowledge of all the things we can't do anymore. It's not giving up, it's just giving back. Shabbat Shalom. Now we take a moment to pray for those in our community and our families who are sick and in need of healing by reciting the Mishaberach prayer and singing along on page 371.
Of strength, who bless the
We also ask God's blessings on the caregivers in our midst, those of us who feel anxiety and pain on the inside that's not shown on the outside, and everyone in our community who puts themselves in harm's way in order to take care of us. May God bring healing to us all, and we say, Amen. We continue now on page 586 with Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon ha'kol, l'ateiku l'yosef reshit, shelo asanu k'goyei ha'aratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'goralenu k'chol hamonam. ומשתחווים ומורים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה
whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. The Mourner's Kaddish is on page 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yomad yivrach cheruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, v'galo v'zman kariv v'yimaru amen, Yehesh shemei Rabbah mevorach le'olam olmei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yikromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei kudsha barichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata da'amiran v'yalma v'yimaru amen. Yehesh lomo Rabbah min shemaya V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimaru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimaru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all of us who mourn, and comfort to all who are bereaved, and we say, Amen. And now if you turn to page 643, we remember that the entire world is but a narrow bridge, and the most important thing is not to be afraid. Gesher Tsar Me'od.
Kol ha'olam kulo, Gesher Tsar Me'od, Gesher Tsar Me'od, Gesher Tsar Me'od. Kol ha'olam kulo, Gesher Tsar Me'od, Gesher Tsar Me'od. V'ha'ikar, lo yefachet klal. V'ha'ikar, lo yefachet klal. Kol ha'olam kulo, Gesher Tsar Me'od, Gesher Tsar Me'od, Gesher Tsar Me'od. Kol ha'olam kulo, Gesher Tsar Me'od, Gesher Tsar Me'od.
And now I ask God's blessings on all of us. Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, our God and God of our mothers and fathers. Grant us a Shabbat filled with joy and rest, and a week ahead filled with good health and peace. Amen. Shabbat Shalom.